If you ask pro players and content creators what the best way to get better is, a lot of them will say VOD reviewing. But how does one VOD review? Let's learn in today's video. VOD reviewing through YouTube videos and through Twitch VODs is still very effective. You don't have to be on PC and be able to access replay mode to have a good VOD review, although it does improve the quality of the VOD review slightly. So what are some techniques for having a great VOD review and making the most of your VOD reviewing experience? Let's take a deep dive and let's have a look. Make sure you pop in code JKC if you enjoy my content. I release daily and I would appreciate it a lot. Thank you and let's go. To access replays in-game, if you're going to be watching it in-game, you're going to go straight to the compete tab, go onto any tournament. I'm just going to choose the Solo Cash Cup, take a look at the session leaderboard. Let's say I want to review Mini Jacoby. I'm going to go on match history and click on one of the matches. This only works on PC, but you can review other footage like YouTube videos on console. Once you click on it, you'll be teleported straight to the game. Every single good VOD review starts with a notebook and a pen or a pencil, whatever you want. Having these items makes it so much easier to retain information that you take from the session. If you notice something in particular, you might notice it in your brain and make a note to yourself, but you might forget it. Having a paper and pen allows you to refer back to the notes, the most important things that you noticed throughout the session that the pros were doing that you weren't. This means that if you're in the next Solo Cash Cup, you can then refer to your notes and think, Iomzo made this rotate across zone, I'm going to make a similar rotate because now I have a similar zone. Having notes to refer back to are a so much more definite option than just having the notes in your mind where they can be easily forgotten. If you're serious about your improvement, then I'd seriously suggest taking a notepad and pen and watching on with them instead. The second thing I would suggest while VOD reviewing is you can try some self-testing. Self-testing is pretty awesome. All it takes is you watching back the pro player. Let's say you're working on fighting and they are in a fight. What I want you to do is pause the replay or pause the video in a specific spot and think to yourself, if I was in this exact situation with these maps, these heals, these weapons, and I was fighting this player here, what would I do next? Whether this be in duos or trios, you're going to have a look at what you would do next in that situation. And then you're going to watch what they did. The pros aren't going to get it right 100% of the time, but more often than not, their choice is going to be better than what you were doing if you didn't guess what they were going to do. And aside from seeing what they did in that specific situation, I want you to ask yourself one basic question. Why? Why did they do what they did? What made it different from what everyone else was going to do, what you were going to do in that situation? How did it benefit them? And is it something you even considered? Asking yourself why is going to really help your improvement, because now you're not just noticing improvements, you're seeing why they happen and why you should play that certain way. I release on a daily, guys, so make sure you pop in code JKC, so that is the #1 way to support my channel. Trust me, it helps more than you can imagine. If we reach 100 supporters on the code, I'm going to release my new creative map, so make sure you pop code JKC in and let's continue off with the video. One useful thing that I've often done when it comes to VOD reviewing is not just looking at the pro player. You can only really do this one if you're in replay mode, however it is a useful thing to do. I want you to watch the replay, but watch it from the person who's fighting the pro's perspective. I want you to look at when they got caught off guard, their mistakes, and make sure you're not making the same mistakes. Because if you watch it from their perspective, you've just experienced fighting a pro player. I want you to be on the lookout for new building moves. When you watch the pros, have a look. Do they do anything in fights, any retakes, any boxing up maneuvers that you think is a good play? Let's say I didn't know the Ken Bean's double edit retake and I saw a pro player do that exact retake in a protected fight. I would think, wow, that's a great move to stay protected and still get a high ground. So I would make a note of it, jot it down, and then learn it in creative afterwards. The only way you're going to play like these pros is to learn the skills that they can do. If you come across a mechanic that you can't do, then you should straight away go and learn that mechanic. Finally, guys, I want you to summarize. Summarizing is so important, and if you've done it properly, you should have quite a couple notes on that sheet of paper. Let's say you've been VOD reviewing for an hour and you have a page of notes. I want you to summarize those notes into the 3 or 5 most important points. It could even be one most important point, the most important point you've come up with throughout the whole session. I want you to take these important points. Let's say you noticed your peaks were pale in comparison to the pro players' peaks, and you need to work on your peaks so much and learn a good peanut butter edit. Now you have that summarized in 3 points, or you have that point and a different point. You now have it summarized in front of you in as few words as possible. The next time you want to practice, you can just look at those points because it saves you having to read for a whole page of notes that you won't remember. You could even stick post-it notes on the side of your setup with some key points that you need to remember during fights, i.e. your reload management is bad. A post-it note above the screen reminding you to reload sounds stupid but could actually work. Summarizing is so important to get your points condensed down into some sectors that you can work with. VOD reviewing is a skill that's mastered well over time, and it helps you become a pro player, which is what you can learn to do with this video right here. It teaches you exactly the strategy you need to become a pro player, and I suggest watching it. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Pop in code JKC, subscribe with notifications on.